Welkom bij weer een nieuwe aflevering van de wekelijkse podcast van Paul de Vries. In de podcast komt het laatste nieuws uit de online automotive aanbod. Met ook interessante tips en tricks uit binnen- en buitenland. Pauls missie? De online automotive beter maken. Dat doet hij met onder andere de volgende partners. Marktplaats, tweedehands.be, you name it, Caldrip, Used Car Controller en Active Lease.
Welkom allemaal bij een nieuwe aflevering van onze podcast om de online automotive beter te maken. En deze week hebben we een hele speciale gast, namelijk Malte Krüger. Onlangs heb ik een gesprek gehad met Malte en Malte is beter bekend als Vice President eBay Classified Germany, waar onder andere mobiele.de onder valt en eBay Kleinanzeigen en Global Motors Lead eBay Classified Group. Oftewel, het is de hoogste baas binnen de eBay Classified Group als het gaat over auto's, over motoren, over mobiele.de, oftewel de grootste automotive website in Europa. En het was een genot om Malte in de podcast te hebben. Je merkt gewoon dat hij weet waar hij over praat. Je weet dat je met een topper te maken hebt, want op elke vraag heeft hij gewoon een gedegen antwoord. En hij weet exact waar hij het over heeft met een visie waarvan wij allemaal van kunnen leren, hoop ik. Dus veel plezier met mijn gesprek met Malte Krüger over de online automotive.
Welkom, dames en heren, bij een nieuwe aflevering van de podcast om de online automotive beter te maken. Met deze week als gast Malte Krüger, vice president van mobiele.de, van eBay Motors, van Kleinanzeigen, oftewel een van de grote manieren van Marktplaats Automotive, van eBay. Malte, very welcome to be here in our podcast. And our first question is actually, who is Malte?
So first of all, thanks for having me, Paul. Yeah, who's Malte? Malte is almost 48 years old, married, 3 kids, live in Berlin, and quite passionate about online and automotive, even though I'm not a typical car guy, so I don't repair my own car, but I like to drive fancy new cars and some old. Mm-hmm. And I'm in the industry for over 20 years now, and within mobile and eBay classifieds for almost 10, so quite exciting journey.
Yeah, and you are heading up as a managing director the mobile.de website in Germany. It is actually, I think, the biggest automotive website we have in the continent, right?
Yes, it is. So it's Mobile is the leading car classifieds platform in Germany, and I think one of the top 5 in the world, I would say, in that area. And I've been leading that for the last 8 years now.
Yeah. So what is new there? What's happened on the mobile platform? What can be interesting for the Dutch dealers? Because I know for a fact that a lot of Dutch dealers are also using the mobile.de platform for their selling and buying of cars.
Yeah, I think as a starting point, it would be really important to kind of maybe level set us a little bit and say, like, what has changed over the last 4 or 5 years, or maybe even 10, I don't know what the right time frame is. And I think there are a couple of data points to illustrate that one. I think a lot of people are aware of those facts. Number one, 4 out of 5 touch points in the car buying journey is online, right? This is not an offline sales business anymore. The internet is the number one source when it comes to orientation, specification, and also in the realization phase more and more. And I think what is also important to know that at least in Germany, 50% of consumers are ready to complete the entire deal online and only finalize the paperwork at the dealership. I think these numbers are quite important to keep in mind. And dealers actually they need to adapt and drive that change by themselves. Otherwise, I think they will be in a problem. But otherwise, if they do it, I think they can really have great opportunities. And starting point for me would be a great digital strategy. And then maybe one step further, and that's important for us as a company at Mobile, we are always starting with the consumer. So with the consumer buyer, as we call them, because what is the logic behind it? Because the dealers might think, so why this is a two-sided platform where they're starting with the consumer and not with us as a car dealer. And the logic and the rationale behind it is we believe if we make car buying easy for the consumer, so the car buyer, we make it way easier to sell a car for the dealer or for the OEM. Right now, it's only dealers. So, and starting with all the consumer research that we have done, and that is a number I've been showing quite extensively in presentations, is that less than 1% of all car buyers enjoy the experience of buying the car, which is quite frustrating because in the end, it's nobody, right? Say less than 1% is kind of nobody. And why is that the case? Car buying is too complex, too time-consuming, and too risky. And then we have all those researchers showing what are the major pain points. It's transparency on price, on dealer, on car. It's how to organize a test drive. It's how to sell your old vehicle. It's negotiating the price is always a painful exercise. And it's definitely then closing a deal with financing and insurance. So said that, how did we change as Mobile? That was kind of your initial question, Paul. And Mobile is now 23 years old in August, so quite a long time already. And over the course of the 23 years, I think we have transformed from being this pretty Web 1.0 classified used car platform. We expanded and deepened our portfolio along that customer journey I just talked about, and we're really becoming that one-stop shop. That really started with going mobile. That was one first thing. So expanding that into mobile, Android, mWeb, and so forth and so on. We have, and bringing that 1.5 million vehicles that we have on page to all the audience in Germany. We created transparency on the field of dealers in prices and vehicles in 2015 and 16. We launched a C2B product, so we're kind of the one step before trade-in product in 2017. We call it mobile.de Motorverkauf. That makes vehicle sales way easier. And in 2018, so last year, we started adding a financing product that will make financing a lot easier. And that is only the beginning, I would say, in order to get rid of all the pain points that we have for the consumers.
So you have the financing part, you have the insurance part as well, and the trade-in part?
No, so I think insurance and trade-in are still to come. This is super important because we know that after you kind of send off the email, the lead, or contact the dealer in whatever form influenced by Mobile, we know this is still in honeymoon phase because you select your car, and that is an emotional good. It's a highly priced good. But then honeymoon starts become sometimes more of a nightmare with all that stuff like negotiation and haggling and going financing and insurance. So first step was going into more transparency, second financing, and then we can go all the way closer to transaction with insurance, with trade-in and stuff, but that is to come in our next year's journey.
Is that also the North Star, that you want to make it possible for the German consumers to actually buy the used car through Mobile 100% directly online and give then the order to the dealer, or you want to stop somewhere before that point?
No, just coming back to the numbers I quoted right in the beginning, I think consumers are ready to complete the deal online, but they still want to finalize the paperwork or the rest of the paperwork online. So we're not going to be a fully transactional platform, as I would call it. So there will not be a buy it now button on the page. That's not really what consumers want, and I think that's definitely not what dealers want, because this will be a totally different process. And cars are still an emotional good, as I said before, and they want to smell it, they want to drive it, they want to speak at least one touch point. They're still at the dealership to confirm that is the right choice, because it is so expensive in a lot of cases. So we go further and further and take friction out of the process, but the last step is still with a hopefully highly trained and highly efficient salespeople at the ground. That's what we still believe in.
Because you touched upon one thing, which is in America the buzzword is digital, the retailing. That everything and it can be done online has to be done online, and then finalize the last step at the dealership where you have a very qualified lead. But you are also saying that you are already 23 years old, and that we transform from a normal classified to a full transparent platform. But is that also the case at the dealership? Is the dealership also grown in that same journey, or do we have to help the dealers as well to be on the same platform, on the same level?
No, absolutely. I think that's a great thing that you talk about, Paul, because I strongly believe that's what I started saying in the beginning. I think what we see in Germany that only let's say 10-15% they really embrace the change that is coming, and the answer is starting with kind of a fully comprehensive, whatever you call it, digital strategy for the dealership. So what does it really mean to go to have consumers in a different mindset coming to the dealership? And I quoted all the numbers and the changes and the pain points. And then I think the decision, and I cannot quote everything that they should or might be doing, but I think absolutely starts with a good strategy in place, and that doesn't mean only looking at digital standalone, because there is no digital standalone anymore, right? This is no. The lines are so much blurring between online and offline, so you need to look at, so how do we tackle consumers coming from an omni-channel perspective? This is number one. I think really super important to get a end-to-end experience for a car buyer. If I start online and end offline, or do it even the other way around, whatever, you need to have a seamless experience. You need to have the right people on board. I think looking at only 4 out of 5 touch points are now online and not offline anymore. So what does it mean for my organization and for my people? Do I need to, first of all, maybe hire different people? I need to look at different skill sets. I need to look at more like online sales consultants rather than people on the ground selling the car, because in the end I think they get bored because nobody is in the showroom anymore. All the investments in the big showrooms, offline showrooms, I think needs to be looked at. And last but not least is really looking into tools and processes. And what I mean with that is like, do I have a lead management system to understand where are the leads coming from? What is the right ROI? Do I have a CRM system to tap into the potential of existing customers? Do I have analytics in place to understand marketing expenses and others even more? So these would be the areas, I think, where dealers need to invest more, but also it's a little bit different for every dealership. Is it a franchise? Is it independent? But I think a digital strategy everybody needs.
LEF, het lead management systeem van you name it. Waarbij al uw leads in één systeem kunnen worden opgevolgd, helpt u op weg van lead naar deal. LEF is vernieuwend, verrassend en compleet. Door haar koppelingen met vele automotive leadbronnen en het eenvoudig management dashboard heeft u real-time inzicht in uw volledige leadproces. Uw leadproces volledig onder controle? Kijk dan op datislefhebben.nl. Steeds meer collega's gebruiken Used Car Controller. Taxeren, calculeren, publiceren of auto's verhandelen met je persoonlijke handelsplatform. Met 1 abonnement geeft Used Car Controller je controle over alle kritische gebruikte autoprocessen. Zo maakt Used Car Controller jou tot de beste in je vak.
Yeah, and now you are also heading up the global team for Modus, for eBay, and eBay started also a new vertical in Canada. What is the purpose of that website? Because they were the cars on the platform, and now you're splitting the platform between a horizontal and a vertical website, right?
Yeah, it's true. So in Canada, we have Kijiji, a horizontal platform, quite some years old, super successful, the well-known brand in Canada when it comes to selling goods, selling definitely also cars and stuff. And we've said motors is the important growth topic and driver for ECG for two reasons. Number one, it is a super attractive category in terms of unsolved challenges and profitability. We talked about that one before. And we have high expertise available in eBay classifieds in the motors business, not only in Germany but beyond. And we are starting to leverage the benefits of a horizontal, where we see certain user groups to be super successful on that platform. But in order to tap into the potential of other user groups, maybe more in the highest car segment with new cars, with a better verticalized experience, that's why we said we want to have the advantage versus other competition, saying we can have an easy, simple solution with the horizontal for maybe lower car segments. We want to have super verticalized, deep experience with integrated financing, integrated transparency, and so forth and so on the vertical, which we now call Kijiji Autos, and we launched that in January 2019.
So that's more for the dealer cars then, for the premium cars, and then the low cost old cars can be better on the horizontal? For the experience, it matches the experience better?
Yeah. We will show all cars on both platforms.
Yeah.
I think that's the big advantage that we have, leveraging two platforms and the reach of both platforms in the long term. The search will be different. One is with not so many attributes, not so many features and product enhancements, because we want to have it clear and simple as other categories on the horizontal. That's one, and we need to fend off kind of horizontal competition on the one side and serve different user needs. On the vertical, we're serving user needs that are going back to it's more verticalized. I want to have more attributes. I want to search for different things. I want to have the full experience, but the same cars will be served, and that's kind of the big advantage, having two platforms next to each other.
Yeah, it makes sense, but then the other question I have is, we have in Holland here a small market with 4 big competitors and competing for the same market, right? With Marktplaats, with Autoscout, with Autotrack. Now the Dutch Dealer Association makes their own platform as well. Is there a market for more portals in the market? Or is the dealer better off in a market where two dominant players are, as in Germany, where they can invest more in the product, in the platform, etc.? What is the best solution for the dealer?
I think that highly depends on market and where the market stands in terms of maturity. So I think you cannot always bridge saying Canada is that solution versus Netherlands or Germany. I think that's a little bit different. In the end, what I would say, starting really in the beginning, is the platform will win who will serve the consumers the best. And by consuming the consumer best, you will in the end make car buying and selling, car buying easy, but car selling easy for the dealers. And then with having all their processes and tools in place, dealers know where to invest the money. Right now, in a lot of cases, it's still gut feeling, not really sophisticated. If they really know that, they know where the best ROI is, and then they will invest accordingly.
Yeah, but about that feeling, that gut feeling, that dealers are also in Holland measuring the performance of the portal with a gut feeling. What is Mobile is doing for the dealers to make the ROI visible?
Yeah, so we have various, I would call it, tools in place, and that is number one is obviously our dealer domain, where we show the leads that are coming from Mobile and that are coming from eBay Kleinanzeigen, because that is a joint proposition, kind of the same as in Canada. That's kind of our role model for Canada, putting a vertical next to the horizontal. That is working quite well. So we're showing how many calls, how many leads, and so forth. Secondly, this will not only be used in the dealer area, we will send out newsletters on actual performance. We are using that for sales people and customer service. So we use kind of the same information in various channels in order to educate dealers. And but quite frankly, I think we're still on a journey. I think we are, even in 2019, that's what I said. I don't know the exact numbers, that's why I'm always quoting that 10-15% are really well aware where do they spend their money, where do they get their leads from, how do I attract them to make the best ROI possible. And I think we really need to keep on educating, keep on taking that conversation to kind of a higher level or go one step deeper, because as we all know, Mobile is a huge platform. We have 16 million unique users per month. That is kind of double the size as the next competitor. So that is quite huge. And what we can show to the dealers in today is just emails and calls. But we know that a platform like Mobile, as it is so big and influential, we are influencing way more leads or way more walk-ins, way more value to the dealers that we are showing. So I think that is the journey we're on, and we need to partner with our dealers in order to provide better value and to educate them.
If we can educate them on the value of the VDP view, which is happening on the Mobile and the website platform, because I saw some studies in America that you actually can see that an engaged VDP view from a portal is doing more engagement on the dealer website, not in the same day or maybe in the same week, but it started his journey on the Mobile.de website and converting a lead on the dealer website 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
And we have to let the dealer see that the journey started somewhere else, where the credit has to be also split by several end sources instead of only the last click source, right?
Absolutely, but again, I think it starts with having, first of all, analytics in place, which I don't know the number in the Netherlands, but I would say not a lot of dealers have that properly in place in Germany. So you need to have that in place, and then you need to have somebody looking after that. And absolutely what you say is like last cookie counts or last contact counts, whatever you want to call it, is not the right metric, because the journey started somewhere. It hopefully started at Mobile, it could start at somewhere else, but I think you need to look at the whole journey in Google Analytics to, in the end, then make the good decision on where to spend the money.
Okay. Malte, I thank you. I want to thank you for your precious time for this conversation in our podcast. I hope and I well know that it is going to be well preserved here in Holland about the content you deliver. So thank you for that one.
Thanks for having me, Paul.
And it was my pleasure.
My pleasure as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bedankt voor het luisteren. De podcast van Paul de Vries is te beluisteren op onder andere iTunes, Spotify en Soundcloud. Abonneer nu direct, zodat u geen aflevering mist. De online automotive beter maken doet Paul de Vries met de volgende partners: Marktplaats, tweedehands.be, you name it, Caldrip, Used Car Controller en Active Lease.